Friends, welcome. My name is Reverend Hillary Taylor. I am the Executive Director of South Carolinians for Alternatives to the Death Penalty. It is good to see so many people who are supporters of our work and in lots of different capacities as well. So we're first going to start with a presentation about what's currently happening with the death penalty in South Carolina. So if you'll give me a quick moment. No. Okay, are folks able to see the PowerPoint screen in front of them? All right, very good. So I'm going to go ahead and start this presentation now. And I have a computer that's a little bit old, so please bear with me. So friends, welcome to the toolkit launch for Khalil, who is formerly known as Freddie Owens. His name, as he currently goes by, is actually Khalil Allah. For the purposes of our clemency toolkit, we are identifying him primarily as Khalil. So you may see some folks interchangeably using Freddie and Khalil. But we are using Freddie Khalil Owens so that folks can identify him in our media. And also because SCDC does not recognize his new name. So a little bit about the state of the death penalty in South Carolina first. Let's talk about executions. There have been no executions in South Carolina since 2011. The last person who had actually exhausted their appeals and executed was in 2009. But in 2011, a gentleman named Jeffrey Motz actually waived his appeals process and was executed by lethal injection. And no person has been executed under Governor McMaster. Since 1978, South Carolina has executed it. It actually, I think, is 43 people instead of 41 people. Happy for the folks at Justice 360 to correct me otherwise. And it's 9 other states now that have executed more people than South Carolina. The governor is the sole person who can grant clemency in South Carolina, which is a reduced sentence, often to life or life without parole, essentially alternative prison terms. The Probation, Pardons, and Parole Board has no power over a clemency process for people on death row. But of note is that no governor has ever granted clemency to someone with an execution date in South Carolina. And certainly in the post Gregg versus Georgia era of the death penalty. There are 34 people on South Carolina's death row. As many as 6 of them are eligible or soon to be eligible for execution. So we may be seeing a lot of executions very soon. And as far as pending capital cases, South Carolina has not sentenced anyone to death row since 2019. New death sentences are few and far between, but may restart again. And 60% of people who are sentenced to death in South Carolina are eventually resentenced to alternative prison terms. So let's talk about the clemency. Let's talk about Khalil as a person. And I first want to go over what you may have seen in the news, which is the bare basics of the circumstances of the crime which he is accused of committing. So in 1999, Khalil was convicted of murder, armed robbery, and criminal conspiracy for the October 31st, 1997 murder of Irene Graves at a now demolished Speedway convenience store on Lawrence Road in Greenville County. His co-defendant, Stephen Andra Golden pled guilty before the trial started and told investigators that Khalil shot Miss Graves. While in Greenville County Jail, Khalil killed one of his cellmates, Christopher B. Lee, and this occurred between being convicted of Miss Graves' murder and his sentencing hearing. And this is where I want to bring in the legal team who has worked with Khalil. And so if there's anything that I have said that is incorrect, they can correct me right now. On with us tonight, we have Amber Pittman, Bo King, and also Emily Pavola. And so what I will do is turn it over to Bo and Amber and Emily, and I will let whomever wants to speak first about Khalil, things that we should know about Khalil as a person, things that we should know about the case that either I have misconstrued in this brief kind of circumstances slide, and anything else that is worth sharing. So take it away, friends.
Thanks. I think the digital materials that you shared can capture some of the more important aspects of this. One thing, of course, is that Khalil was 19 at the time of this crime, and that he was not very far removed from a juvenile prison in South Carolina, where he had been repeatedly exposed to and subjected to physical and sexual abuse. And that followed a childhood of intense poverty, where he was also subjected to like very severe physical abuse. And subsequent testing and expert assessments have shown that Khalil suffered organic brain injuries from these repeated traumas throughout his childhood and adolescence. We just think that no assessment of Khalil's culpability, no answer to the question of whether a death sentence is appropriate, can be given without accounting for the profound and repeated damage that he suffered, up to the point, of the events for which he's currently on death row. I think that would be my sort of opening summary of what I would certainly want anyone judging Khalil or advocating for him to understand. If anybody else has anything to add.
Thank you, Bo. I really appreciate you sharing this. Obviously, these are things that you have shared with me, but I think it's really, really important that the legal team be the ones to share this. Obviously, because my role is to help, and our role tonight as people who are supporting this movement, our job is to voice this. So friends, if you are taking notes, please take note of what Bo has shared. Amber, Emily, do y'all have anything else to add?
I think Bo summarized it pretty nicely.
I don't have anything to add.
Gotcha. Thank you both. And Emily, I know that you are somebody who has known Khalil for a long time and worked with him for a long time. So I just want to thank you for all the work that you have done and the ways that you still continue to support, the legal team and also him personally. So from here, what I'm going to do is I will briefly exit out of this PowerPoint presentation, and we'll go to first the petition, and then the organizing toolkit, and then tell you a little bit more about what you can expect. This is, how would I say, the stuff behind the stuff, the room where it happens, if you will. So this is what the petition looks like. As you can see, we've already collected 896 signatures. Some of that is with the help of friends who are pushing this petition out, other state-sponsored anti-death penalty orgs, also friends who are part of Death Penalty Action, who have helped SCADP for several years now since they helped us restart. So the first, we do have an image of Khalil, and then we have kind of a brief overview of why the state should not restart the executions. I'll be updating this tonight to make it more comprehensive with what Bo and Amber and Emily have brought to us tonight. And then here is the letter which we are, giving to Governor McMaster. What we will do is we are collecting all of these signatures. We will be printing them out and we will be handing them in to Governor McMaster before the scheduled execution date. So let's talk about the toolkit. You'll see, you've already seen this image. This already has a bit of what Bo has shared with us tonight. It also has a bunch of different action items. So if you're looking for a checklist, if you're a checklist person like me, this is your checklist. You can sign and share the official advocacy petition, which is right here. Again, just click on that link. The bit.ly link, I'll fix that later. But it is bit.ly/Freddie Khalil Owens. You can contact Governor McMaster using example posts and scripts below. You can post and share our content on your social media, copy and pasting the suggested social media posts and hashtags below, and adding Henry McMaster. You can follow SCADP on the following social media platforms and stay up to date and share content related to clemency for Freddie Khalil Owens, and bookmark our webpage at scadp.org/advocate. You can also share this toolkit with others working to help Freddie Khalil Owens and abolish the death penalty in South Carolina. If you sign the petition, or if you emailed to come to this event tonight, you are already subscribed to SCADP's email list. But if you know somebody who is not subscribed, you can forward them the petition, or you can simply send them this link to subscribe them to SCADP's email list. Now we have some sample posts for Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, also LinkedIn too. Any social media platform that you use, this will be fine. So first, South Carolina's use of the death penalty is cruel and unusual punishment. Executing Freddie Khalil Owens violates the 8th Amendment. Again, it also adds the petition link via bit.ly. We have We Need Your Help. Freddie Khalil Owens will be executed by the state of South Carolina on September 20th, with also suggested action items: signing the petition, emailing the governor, calling the governor's office. Tell the governor of South Carolina, Henry McMaster, to stop executions, using the toolkit to amplify calls for clemency. And then we have more sample graphics. So we have these graphics, again, with the bit.ly link, but also how to contact Governor McMaster, more petition links, also some QR codes for those of you who like QR codes. And all of these graphics are in this little link right here, which says access, download the graphics in a Google folder here. And then this is a sample script that you can use to call Governor McMaster. Gives you the phone, fax, email, his mailing address, saying, "Hi, my name is blank. I live in XYZ city and zip code. I'm calling today to ask that Governor McMaster grant clemency to Freddie Khalil Owens, who is scheduled to be executed on September 20th. Please tell the governor to use his executive powers and show mercy to Freddie Khalil Owens. Note, if you are leaving a message on an answering machine, make sure to state your name, phone number, or email address clearly. If you're writing to the governor, handwritten letters and postcards work best." We have some, for those of you who want to email the governor, there are a couple of, I guess, more finessed directions. using these particular images that we crafted on Canva. I'll let you look at those as you would like. We also have a kind of sample tweet granting clemency to Freddie Khalil Owens at Henry McMaster if you want to post that, or use that as a model for your own social media posting. And then also a calling script that we will be posting to social media as well. And then here's our contact information for SCADP. You can visit our website, www.scadp.org. You can email me, info@scadp.org. The phone number to reach us is 864-625-3245. And then our address is P.O. Box 25485, Greenville, South Carolina, 29616. We will update as new information comes out. It's possible that that may happen. We have a little more than 3 weeks before the execution date. So anything is bound to happen. And so we may continue to post scripts or contacting the governor, social media statements, and sample posts. One thing that I do want to advocate for, and you can email me or send me a text message. That phone number that I gave you for SCADP is also good for texting. We are in need of vigil captains for different places across South Carolina. We already have identified as some potential vigil leaders, people here in Columbia, people in Charleston. We have one or two people in Greenville. I myself will be involved in the Columbia vigils, but if you are in a place in South Carolina that perhaps is a little far from Greenville or Columbia or Charleston, and you would like to create your own vigil experience, we have sample vigil outlines that we can give you. So you will not be left to create something of your own making if that is not your spiritual gift. Know that we already have something for you. And we also have, if you're somebody who would like some songs, we have some sample songs that even can be done a cappella. We plan on having scripts to rehumanize both the folks who have been victims of violence in this case, but also rehumanizing Khalil as well. So there will be moments to honor everybody and remember everybody who has been harmed. I do want to cover again a little bit more about contacting Governor McMaster's office via email. There is a bit.ly link that we have created for your ease, if you will. It is bit.ly/SCADP-governor. So what you'll do when you get to that website, you'll choose to contact the governor or lieutenant governor. You'll fill out the requester information and sections, and then you'll click the next button at the bottom right-hand corner. You'll choose other as the option next. You'll choose governor. Then I know that this is maybe pedantic for those of you who will do this later, but I also want to make sure that folks who might be visually impaired watching this video have all the correct directions. You will write Freddie Khalil Owens in the subject box, and then you'll write and send the message urging Governor McMaster to grant clemency to Khalil and save him from the death penalty. This form is not, how would I say, intuitive. And so that is why we wanted to go ahead and write these directions so that folks know exactly what to do and exactly what to say. What I want to help people remember is to not be discouraged. This is really hard. And to be very frank, this is going to be a very difficult clemency kind of fight. But what I want you to know is that we will end the death penalty. We will abolish it here in South Carolina. As one of my conservative colleagues tells me, it's not a matter of if the death penalty is abolished, it's a matter of when it's abolished. Already here in South Carolina, I can tell you that I have been keeping a low ear to the ground, and I've been doing lots of different conversations with lots of different people. And they're not the same kinds of folks who are after blood in the same way that people were 30 years ago. We are seeing a very different kind of atmosphere from where South Carolina was, even in the heyday of executions. But what we have to do is we have to amplify those voices, and we have to amplify our voices right now. So some things that I want you to do, add these dates to your calendar. On September 19th, we will be delivering a petition, the petition that we have, in addition to the petitions that some of our partner organizations have been doing and have been creating independently of us. We will bring all of those to the state's house. We will give them to Governor McMaster's office. We may have an additional kind of action, whether it's a press conference or opportunity for interviews at that point in time. We will have a vigil that night on September 20th. The location and the time will be announced later. Where we used to have the vigil on the eve of the execution is needing to change. That space is no longer available to us. And then what we will do after we have done the vigil is we will protest outside of the governor's mansion for an hour or two. We will have signs, we will have song sheets, we will make it something that he cannot ignore, and that the media will not be able to ignore either. And then on September 20th, we will have a vigil at Broad River Correctional Institution. We'll arrive at 5 o'clock and we'll spend kind of the first 30 minutes protesting outside of Broad River Correctional. At about 5:30, we will go into the facility itself. We will be on the grounds rather, and there will be a section that will be roped off for us to hold vigil and also protest. The scheduled execution right now is supposed to take place at 6 o'clock. And we will be there until, if the execution again is scheduled for that day, continues to be scheduled for that day, we will stay there until we hear that the execution has happened. If you want to follow us, again, go to scadp.org/newsletter, or simply just sign the petition. You can find us on all of the main social media platforms, all of the meta platforms. You can find us on X, formerly known as Twitter, and then we're also on LinkedIn as well. I want to make space right now for folks to ask any questions of me or the legal team. I am grateful that all of y'all are here and grateful that you are making time for all of this. So please feel free to share either by unmuting yourself or in the chat. What questions do you have?
Hillary, are you going to send us this toolkit packet, or how can we get access to it?
I will be sending it tonight or tomorrow morning over Action Network. So if you were attending this meeting, you are already subscribed to our email list, and you will be getting it tonight. It will also be posted on our website as well.
Excellent. Thank you.
Hey, Hillary, Bo mentioned a bunch of good reasons why clemency should be granted. You know, some things in Freddie's background that probably the governor should know. Can we include that in the script to talk to him, in the emails to talk to him, and on the signs at the vigil and all that stuff?
You most certainly can. This is one of the reasons why we're recording it, why we're having the lawyers say what exactly it is. Again, some stories are not mine to tell. And there are some things that, because I have not been working as deeply on these cases as many of these people, I might misconstrue. And so I wanted them to be the primary people to report what they have found in working with him, what they have discovered in investigating his case, in talking with people who have been connected to him his whole life long. These are things that we want you to share intentionally, and that will, again, sort of the brief summary of what he said will be in the toolkit at the very top of the page. So Sabrina has asked if we know anything about the lethal injection drugs that South Carolina is using. Bo, I think you and Amber and Emily might be better at answering that question than me.
Sure. We know that the state has said that they have pentobarbital available under the terms of the decision that was entered on July 31st in Mr. Owens's case, and on behalf of the other plaintiffs challenging the state's method of execution statute, the state is supposed to certify the availability of which methods of execution are available, and to make some statement as to the provenance or qualities of the lethal injection drugs. That will come later this week. Pending that, all we know is that they say they have pentobarbital.
Do you know when the method of execution is supposed to be selected, Bo?
Beg your pardon?
When will the method of execution be selected?
By statute, you're supposed to select the method of execution 2 weeks before the execution date. So in this case, Friday, September 6th.
Steph is asking, is it recommended that a person contact the governor by more than one method? Absolutely. This is your chance to go hog wild. So the thing about and the lawyers would be better at talking about this than me. The reality is that once an execution date is set, it is very, 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 very hard to stop it. And so our job, realistically, the lawyers are the only ones who can stop an execution from happening. They're the ones who have the legal maneuvers. They're the ones who have the wits about them, which is not to diminish our work, but our work is to make it as difficult as possible for this execution to happen, to make it as painful as possible for the Department of Corrections and for the governor of South Carolina. So whatever way you can get to Governor McMaster, whether it's email, phone call, an in-person meeting, does not matter. Be annoying, be aggressive. Obviously, don't harm anybody. But this is your chance to let him know what you think and that he is in charge because he's been elected by some people. And so he has to answer to all people as a public official. Thank you, Steph. I've also posted the toolkit in the chat for those of you who would like access to it and would like to start posting from it before tomorrow, when that will be the latest that you get it. So I don't want to stop the momentum. I want you to go ahead and get it if you would like it. Ooh, this is a great question from Ruth. How are our lawyers doing? This is a tremendous, difficult, but important work. So, lawyer friends, how are y'all doing? Can you share a little bit about that with us?
That's a very kind question. I think we're all focused right now on the work, which is both purpose and solace. And fortunately, we have a community of, we have a team really that is experienced in this litigation, but also experienced in supporting each other through these twilight periods. I will say that I found great comfort in Hillary's steady sort of pastorship throughout. But Reverend Taylor is a good person to know at times like this. And we're hanging in there. Thank you.
If you are somebody who is spiritual or who is a praying person, please definitely be praying for the strength of our legal teams. They are doing tremendous, tremendous work. Are there any other questions that people have? All right, friends. Well, having heard none, I'm really grateful that so many people are here for this presentation and for this toolkit launch. This is, again, a first of its kind. And so we are building the plane as we are flying it in some cases. So thank you. And if you yourself are coming up with different resources, please forward them our way. We would love to help repost those. This is a collected effort, and we are here to support one another. Karen has said, thank you for sharing humane details about Khalil. Important to remember he is part of our human family. Absolutely. As I was musing with Bo the other day, we are responsible for Khalil in a lot of ways. The scholar Abraham Heschel once wrote in his book and commentary on the Hebrew prophets that few are guilty, but all are responsible. And so we are people who neglected Khalil in his time of need. Our systems completely failed him. And to execute him means that we are getting rid of the reminder of the ways that we have failed, which lets us off the hook. And our systems simply just need to be better. And what we should actually do is work to restore Khalil. That is what he deserves after the ways that we have failed him. Pain that is not transformed is transferred. And so he inherited violence. And it's no surprise that because there was little to no intervention for him, that is what happened. And so that is what we want to do. If all lives truly matter in this pro-life state of South Carolina, then Khalil's life especially matters. So that is what I will leave you with, friends. Thank you so much for coming here tonight. I'll go ahead and stop recording. And if you have anything else, I will be available for the next couple of minutes to stay on. Thank you, friends, and good night.
Thank you.